In a world consumed by high-definition visuals and polished special effects, there exists a category that harks back to a simpler time. A time when VHS tapes and static-filled screens held a mystique that captivated our imaginations. Welcome to the realm of analog horror. From chilling found footage to haunted video games, analog horror captures the essence of a bygone era. It evokes a sense of dread by using the very technology that once entertained us, turning it into terror. Each scratch, each distortion becomes a deliberate choice, crafting an experience that leaves a lasting impression on our minds. Today, we'll be taking a look at some disturbing Dollhouse VHS tapes, posted by the channel Bubble Navy, so don't forget to check him out after this video. In Bubbles Navy's channel, we have access to 3 tapes. In each tape, it is featured a distorted version of a character from the show. In the first tape, it's Ida in her demon form, in the second, it's Hootie, and in the third, it's King. So let's start with the first tape, which is called the Luz Lost Footage.mp4. Take a look. In this tape that was apparently recorded by Luz, we see that she started recording because she was hearing some strange noises in the house. A scared Luz calls for Ida when she comes across this twisted version of Ida. Luz screams as the tape cuts. The second tape is called House Demon Lost Footage.mp4, and this time the tape features the twisted version of Hootie. This time it's King recording, and he is as terrified as Luz is in the previous tape. He is also investigating weird sounds, but these ones were coming from Luz's room. He suddenly comes across a creepy Hootie, staring at him from the window, when all of a sudden Hootie jumps in front of the camera as King screams. As bad as the situation looks for King, this wouldn't be the last time we would see him. In fact, he appears in the next tape. However, it does look a bit different.
King!
Ida.
Luz.
I will sing it down and it will
The third tape is by far the most disturbing one, as you may have concluded. In this tape, Luz comes across Twisted King. Then it cuts to a clip of Ida trying to find Luz. But she comes across the horrifying scene of King eating what was Luz a few minutes ago. The tape ends with Ida crying on the background as King goes for a bite of Luz's body. Although I initially mentioned that there were only 3 tapes, there is actually one more. I didn't mention this one because it is only available in the TikTok of the creator of the series. This tape is simply called Who's There, and it contains the following. In this tape, we can observe that we are in Luz's room, and there is something outside her window, something that appears to be empty. Another interesting thing we can spot is that Luz's laptop is showing a website with news about people going missing, which is probably involved with these twisted versions of the characters. This tape is actually the start of the first chapter of Luz Lost Document, which is the story behind all these tapes that the creator wrote on Wattpad. It counts with 3 chapters that I will sum up now. Gravesfield, Connecticut is plagued by a disturbing pattern of unexplained disappearances as bizarre sightings of menacing creatures flood the virtual realm of Mewtwo. In the midst of this chilling phenomenon, Luz, with her messy dark brown curly hair and curious caramel eyes, delves into the online articles, consumed by a mix of fascination and fear. Late one night, a tapping sound at her window jolts her from the thoughts. With a rush of adrenaline, she musters the courage to investigate, only to come face to face with a pair of glowing eyes emerging from the darkness. To her surprise, it is a girl that claims to be lost, named Amity, dressed strangely. They team up to explore a hidden house, and Luz fearfully reaches for the doorknob, unsure of what's inside. Luz opens the door, startled by a blinding light, and stumbles into Amity's arms. Amity seizes the opportunity, forcefully pushing Luz into the light and capturing her attention. Frustrated, Luz confronts Amity while she apologizes and offers an explanation. Disregarding the apology, Luz takes a look at her surroundings. She only sees dark trees. Questioning her location and doubting if it's a dream, Luz receives a confirmation from Amity that it's real. Amity extends her hand, inviting Luz to join her. With hesitation but no other options, Luz takes Amity's hand. As Amity drags Luz deeper into the woods, a bad smell permeates the air, and they stumble upon a peculiar creature with a sharp horn. Amity recognizes the creature as the Titan, and suddenly, Amity's true form is unveiled, and she approaches the Titan with malicious intent. In a split-second decision, Luz grabs the Titan and flees, desperately escaping from Amity's pursuit. While escaping, she trips and loses consciousness. After some time, Luz regains awareness, finding herself surrounded by 2 mysterious figures approaching her. Luz stumbled back, unable to see what was approaching. She leaned against a tree, closing her eyes to ease the pain. The sound of crunching leaves ceased, and 2 young witches stood before her. Startled, Luz fell back, her chest tightening with anxiety. The witches reassured her they meant no harm, and presented themselves as Augustus and Willow. They entered the rotten cave, searching for a human bucket. Luz found a familiar item and a glowing trail. Before she could mention it, Augustus shouted, stepping into a glowing puddle. In a panic, Luz screamed, but he vanished underground. Willow freed him with vines, while Luz retrieved the bucket. They escaped the cove, and Luz gave Augustus the bucket. Willow led Luz to a shabby house with a tall tower, where someone could help her. They bid farewell, and Luz stood at the door, filled with anticipation. After the 3rd chapter, the creator said she was going to make a comic series, which she is developing at the moment. But with these 3 chapters and tapes, we can conclude the following. The characters from this alternate universe never met each other, like Luz had never met Amity before their encounter at Luz's house. In the description of the series in Wattpad, we get the information that the collector is controlling demons and witches on the boiling isles and feeds off humans' fear for fun. This means that other characters from the show will behave very differently from what we would expect. We can now understand why Huri, Ida, and King were behaving very differently towards each other. The Collector is controlling them to feast on Luz's fear. The Collector might be doing this mind control on the population through some disease, since he wasn't able to control King until King had contact with the mind-controlled Hootie. Although we can conclude many stuff, there is still much to unpack about Luz Lost Document. The only thing we can do now is wait for the comics, which according to the creator will arrive soon. Write in the comments if you want me to do a part 2 of this video when the comics arrive. I hope you enjoyed and to see you soon.